What are embassies, consulates, and missions? The U.S. Department of State manages America's relationships with other nations. The State Department's work happens all over the globe at U.S. embassies, consulates, and missions, which assist Americans abroad and represent the United States to the rest of the world. One of the most recognizable symbols of American diplomacy in another country is the U.S. Embassy. The U.S. Embassy is the headquarters for the U.S. government representatives serving in a foreign country. An embassy is normally located in the capital city and led by the U.S. ambassador to that country. For example, you can find U.S. embassies in Mexico City, Mexico, Jakarta, Indonesia, and Accra, Ghana. The United States has only one embassy in any given country. But in geographically larger countries, such as China, India, and Brazil, the United States may have several additional offices, called consulates. Consulates provide the same services and carry out the same official functions as an embassy, but they follow the lead of the ambassador and the embassy. Consulates are typically located in major cities and are led by a consul general, who is lower in rank than the ambassador. The ambassador, also known as the chief of mission, is the highest-ranking diplomat to the host country. An ambassador has to be an inspiring leader and an organized manager. A U.S. ambassador is supported by a team of Foreign Service officers and specialists from the Department of State. Additionally, the ambassador has a deputy, known as the Deputy Chief of Mission. All U.S. embassies, consulates, and other diplomatic posts in foreign countries are known collectively as missions of the United States. They all represent the United States and carry out its foreign policy goals. Missions also refer to U.S. representation to international organizations. One example is the U.S. mission to the United Nations. The mission's goal is similar to that of embassies and consulates, but there is a specific focus on multilateral concerns, or concerns that involve 3 or more countries. Missions are also led by an ambassador. At many U.S. missions, you will also find representatives from other U.S. agencies. These may include the U.S. Agency for International Development and the Departments of Defense, Commerce, Justice, Homeland Security, and Agriculture. Whatever agency they belong to, all employees work under the direction of the ambassador. While Americans work at missions, most of the staff are citizens of the host country. These employees are essential to the success of any embassy, consulate, or mission because they know the local culture, have essential skills, and are well connected to the government and civil society leaders. Buildings housing U.S. embassies, consulates, and missions abroad are the territory of the United States, not the host country. The host country's government assumes responsibility for the security surrounding the U.S. mission buildings. Local people from the host country cannot enter any U.S. mission building without permission, even to put out a fire. As symbols of the government, an attack on a mission building or its diplomats is considered an attack on the country it represents. This security status also applies to the embassies and consulates of other nations in the United States. One purpose of an embassy or consulate is to assist Americans traveling to or living in the host country. U.S. Foreign Service officers also interview citizens of the host country who request visas for travel to the United States for business, education, or tourism. Another function of missions is to strengthen the relationship between the United States and the host country. mission staff interact with local government representatives, businesses, non-governmental organizations, the media, and education institutions. They also regularly interact with private citizens. These open discussions are meant to create an understanding of the United States and its policies among locals. A third function of U.S. missions is keeping the United States informed about what is happening where they are located. Mission staff analyze the political, cultural, and economic situation in their area. They send reports back to the Department of State in D.C. They help U.S. businesses find partners and customers. Staff also sponsor educational, professional, and cultural exchanges to introduce emerging and established leaders to the United States. These exchanges promote relationships between Americans and foreign students, academics, scientists, entrepreneurs, and political, religious, and civil society figures. The relationships forged by U.S. mission staff overseas help build coalitions of allies and partners. These efforts help achieve shared interests and defend shared values.